Hi, this is Bill Foote, and this is the very first lecture overview demonstration uh, for MBA 645. It's a special topics course in the MBA program at Manhattan College. Uh, we have nominally called it Strategic Management Science, but the specific topic we're going to deal with for the next 7 weeks is strategic decision analytics. And the analytical platform and approach we're going to use, including its technology, including the thinking behind it, uh, our brains and hearts and emotions, of course, we're going to call system dynamics. Uh, John Sturman, who is the reigning uh, body of knowledge at MIT at the moment. There are many others, Moore Croft and Dennis Meadows, and many other, George Richardson, and many others. All came from a common approach. Uh, basically, this situation that you see on the screen right now. We have a person up here, uh, and this is my drawing of a cartoon that John Sturman uses at MIT uh, every year when he does his intro to system dynamics courses. And here you are sitting. This could have been me 8 or 9 years ago in professional services. My revenue is dropping. My expenses are going up. Now, what expenses might those be? Those might be, yes, it isn't computing. My rent was going up in Manhattan, yes, I worked for a professional services firm, at a level in which I was writing and delivering engagements, clients within a practice, capital markets practice. Our expenses were people. They were my salary. They were the salary of my senior managers, the salary of our managers, the salary of everybody else. And then there was an overhead salary on top of that, plus the expenses of the real estate that we were renting, practice literally rented from the rest of the firm. And there I am sitting, and I have these two incredible pressures, like the slab in 2001 Space Odyssey. I am small, it is large. This isn't large enough, but it's heavy enough to crush me either side. I decided to uh, take that left leg and give expenses a roundhouse kick to the middle of it, and down it will go. But here's what actually happens. You do that, you lose people. Yes, we lost a lot of people. And those, and as that happens, it starts to come around into our revenue. How did that happen? That happened because the people really were the ones who were generating the revenue. They were the ones that the clients really wanted to see. And because of that, there is this feedback effect. Well, when when our practice, this is around 2008, when our practice began to fall like this, other practices began to fall as well, unbeknownst to the people sitting there. There's somebody actually, I think, sitting there. There we go. There's somebody sitting there. Yes. Looking at her charts and going, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And then this will come around as well. But then there's a knock-on effect. Look at this. Look at this poor person out here who might have been one of our our service providers or one of our vendors, and then they institute their feedback effects all across this loosely drawn horizon. That's what we face. And what I want to do is walk us through some of the main ideas of system dynamics. This is a dynamic situation. Typically, we run spreadsheets, income statement, cash flow statements, processes, and so on in a very, very static way. And what I like to propose for this course is that we modify that, and not ever so slightly either, not ever so slightly. Uh, Let me tell you where things are in the course so that you can find them first. Everything is mounted right now on Netlify. This is the actual deployment I'm using. I love Netlify's choice of names here. Cutie, cute pixie, yeah, and then some gobbledygook and Netlify.app. You can find this by going to my writing, actually just writing a a note to a website to get a. It's like the old self address self stamped envelope of the world. I did it to myself. It seems to work, but it's called go to Foot System Dynamics. And that's FOOTE. For those of you who don't know me, we kept the E for many centuries. We will not lose that E. System Dynamics at gmail.com. Now, what you do is all you have to do is write the word course, COURSE. And if you're following directions, my directions right now, lower case only. I set the filter only to lowercase. So that in the subject line, send. Wait for a little while for speed of light to move all of the information around the planet across all the data centers and finally into your inbox. And let me know how it goes. You can always write me here at footsystemdynamics at gmail.com if you're not satisfied. Okay, so that's where you get it. And when you get it, you will be given a link to this very site. Notice it's a Welcome to System Dynamics 101. And I think this is the basic course. And it's designed for graduate students, maybe advanced undergraduate students. I try it on high school students if somebody would let me. Thinking is what matters here. The techniques we will use all come from non-linear differential equations, ordinary and partial. That's where it comes from. But somebody a long time ago, was an expert in the area, an electrical engineer, Jay Forrester, figured out how to take that mathematical approach, apply it in a way that normal humanoids like you and me, who maybe have forgotten how to do differential equations, God forbid that, could actually learn this. So here's the welcome. You can read through the syllabus to get an idea of what's going on. I definitely the word generative is going to be in everything these days with analytics. Here's my contact information at the O'Malley School of Business, Manhattan College, where I'm currently a visiting scholar. You can text me on my mobile. If you have any issues, just let me know who you are and what it's about, and I will try to get back to you within 24 hours, maybe less. My Zoom channel, okay. Office hours, not just for MBA 645, anybody who'd like to show up and talk about system dynamics, talk about modeling, talk about thinking, talk about understanding preceding implementation, which is what we're all trying to do out here. That'll be every Saturday for the next 7 Saturdays, and we can continue on if we like. We're allowed to do that from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. I've scratched out that time. That is UTC -5. That is Eastern time. The time's by appointment, and as I said, you can text me if you want to chat. Say hello. Always like to say hello. I'm actually pretty sociable these days. And let's have at this thing. I also have a GitHub site where I'm going to be erecting most of these things, and you can see how crazy my mind is and how chaotic things really are. The origins uh, are very interesting to go through, and I again invite you to look at this. A Forrester's MIT introduction, and this is in 1998. And he started this in 1953 or four, when he came to MIT's newly formed own school of management, um, and started working with what is called Whirlwind One, which was MIT's version of ENIAC and Brainiac and IBM and the computing that was just beginning uh, to be. And eventually that became DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation, uh, of which many of us learned in academia and many others of us learned in science and technology, uh, DEC machines. You can read that. He has a whole self-study course. You can learn all of this there very easily. And then some, there's only 27 assignments there. I have a mere 7 in this course, or 6 really, when you get down to it. George Richardson has an excellent course at from 2013. I don't believe he offers it anymore, but they keep it up and running on the FTP site. So check it out. Lots of models, lots of thinking, more from a public policy and administration point of view at SUNY Albany, now called Albany University. John Sturman, just, you know, I don't know, he just doesn't want to do any more lectures, but that's okay. We'll fill in for him. Introduction to System Dynamics, and this is the online courseware OCW program, and whole course is mounted there. Great, uh, go for it. One of his students, I think it's Jim Payne, uh, runs seminars and has a couple of courses as well. Greg Kirkwood out at ASU has a marvelous page. Now he's been in this business almost from the beginning, which is around 60s, 70s, uh, when uh, people who actually had to solve real problems found that they couldn't solve them with differential equation systems very easily, because they were very, very untidy, shall we say. And we needed something a little bit uh, more practical, uh, easier to use, and more importantly, easier to interpret. And Ventana Systems, Vensim PLE, Ven Simple, yes. Find out what the PLE means. There's a tutorial that we're going to be relying upon implicitly through just everything we're doing. And Tom Fitterman at Ventana is maintaining the Meta Systems Dynamic Model Library. So check all of this out. I've curated it. No, I've linked you to it. The resources for this course, I'm using 2 primary texts. I always go back and forth with a third one, Donella Meadows, which I think is one of the best writers in the business. But Daniel Kim and Prinny Anderson have an outstanding approach to taking story into structure and the basics of what we call system archetypes. This is from Peter Senge as well, the 5th discipline, the 8 archetypes, the 8 traps we can fall into. Socrates would have loved this, absolutely loved this. One, Martin Garcia is a trainer, educator, modeler at Ventana Systems, which produces Vensim for us. And he comes from Europe, so he's going to be writing and thinking in a very, very different way than we might here in the continental lower 48, lower 48 United States. And I like that part. He has a paperback EPUB formats. I've got mine on Kindle. I'm not trying to do Kindle. It's just convenient right now. Oh, we should probably look at that Monopoly someday and Vensim. That would be very interesting. But for right now, check that out. Download the Vensim uh, system. Please let it work. It did. You just never know. Did it break finally? All right, system breakages. But Panella Meadows' Thinking in Systems of Primer is my next go-to. When I get stuck on an idea, I'll read her, uh, watch some of her lectures online at Dartmouth in the late 70s, and get all sorts of ideas about what to do, how to do, and get running on something. I've been doing this for a very long uh, since at least that time. There was a project called Dynamo that I was introduced to. I think it was probably written in Fortran at the time, and so on. And APL, very much involved in system thinking. Um, uh, Jim Brown et al., Garth Foster in APL, Ken Iverson. Again, they were thinking systems all the time. Um, Business Dynamics is the book is the S&D body of knowledge. Period. End of story. It's been revised, etc. Probably needs to be revised again, John. But the models in there are archetypal, absolutely, and understanding how to build those models. More importantly, how to understand um, what they can represent and what they can't represent is critical. Now, that book, all over my very busy workbench here. The tools are laid out all over the place. Yes, there it is. It's backwards, right? You can see it backwards. I need a mirror, right? No problem there. Um, his book is a little over 1,000 pages long. All right. This is the reference resource that we all use. I have a course readings repository in a Google Drive and a models repository, and right next to that one in the Google Drive for you to use. Requirements for this course for those taking this as a course for credit. Apparently, you're probably paying for it as well. Um, there are 6 assignments required. I use A to F grading. Those are integer scales. Love integers and rational numbers all the time. Anybody who knows me knows that I really don't believe in the world of so-called irrational numbers, the way they're defined mathematically. But can my computer, how do I compare two calculations of the word of word? Yes, it's like a word, I, with the square root of 2. It's very, very hard to do. Algorithmic problem. And system dynamics is a great help in that field. Um, Assignments 1 through 5, weeks 1 through 5. I love 13%. It's a prime number. All right. Roll of 65%. If 5 times that is that, and it is. Okay. And these are complete. These are pretty straightforward. We're going to go through models every single Saturday and drop these into a um, drop these into a Google form that will be the upload workbook. I created a workbook in the form. I'll show you in a second. Oh, why not? Why not show you right now? Sure. And let me. There we go. Here's the System Dynamic workbook. Here's week 1, assignment 1. Um, just walking through this a little bit. Yeah, put your name, address here. I don't know who you are. See if I can find one that works here. This. Oh, there's a blog too. Now, this is also a version. I'll bring up a version in a minute that will clarify things for us. Okay. And that's the workbook. But It's simple upload. Okay, that's all I want to get at. The last assignment is going to cover the last 2 weeks, 6 and 7, of the course, where we will attempt to do something maybe heroic. I'm not sure, heroically hard, uh, and uh, uh, build maybe a multi-sector model of something. I've got all sorts of ideas for doing that. And you may have all sorts of ideas for building your own project. There's a feature on Vensim which allows us to play with parameters. On the Pro version, Vensim Plus, you can build games. We cannot build games. We'd love to have built games, but funding as it is would require a professional version. And well, we'll see about that maybe in another round of this, in another a second course on it, because that's where we use this tabletop exercises with managers. That's where we use it. Okay. The participation 10%. Now, participation is this thing called, this is how we're going to quote unquote measure it. Uh, Sharing our experience. What is your experience? Okay. What do you expect to learn? And I'm the typical instructor that does this sort of thing. I'll give you an idea of what I'm asking about by giving you an example. That's the easiest way. I expect to learn from working with all of you as we struggle, and we are going to struggle. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to be throwing the computer, metaphorically, of course, at a brick wall, metaphorically, because things don't always work the way we want them to work. All right. And that's the second thing. Got to remember to hold down that Alt key when I'm trying arrows. And, okay, there's going to be those kinds of frustrations. Vensim has a particular way of doing things, and my fingers are used to R, Python, Word, LaTeX. What else am I used to? Have nothing to do with Vensim. So, you know, the neural messaging and muscle memory of my fingers might be different. And so we all have that. Who are my team? You're all my teammates. I'm ex officio on all class teams, and anybody else who wants me as part of their team, if I have time, I will be there. Okay. And Saturday, 10 to noon. Okay. That's an example of a participation. Uh, Closing on down here. Welcome yourself over here. Okay. Yes. Introduce yourself here. Kylie, Wyatt, Marion, Bill, Smash, Bill again, Bill again. Naz, Mariam, and Van. Great. More people are coming in. I will be responding to you soon. So each of you start thinking about the decision problem. Okay, let's go into that here pretty much. Get out of this. The other matters. This is from Manhattan College, but also about imperative in general. We're analysts. We speak truth to power. We had better back that up with reasonable evidence of our analysis. The artifacts of it, where our sources are. Not if we're journalists, we have a different issue there. But um, within the ethical culture, if you will, of our organization, uh, always striving for the good. Okay, we've become a very cynical society so many ways. Let's keep striving for the good. Let's keep transcending our boundaries. And that is system thinking. That's something that we're literally, as human beings, seemingly designed to do. We, we, unlike my cat, who would love to think that, well, they do love to think that they're the most important being on the planet. We humans know that we can look at ourselves critically. We are subjects who can look at each other as objects, look at ourselves as an object, objective. That is a bad thing. Not to judge somebody or to objectify somebody. Not that idea, but objective reality. And we're going to talk about a couple of assumptions that we're going to be making, of course. you have a disability and these systems don't work for you, but let's try to find a way in which they can, to the extent that we have the technology to do that. The weeks are over here, 1 through 7. Each one gets a tab. All right. I am working on week 2. I don't usually finish up weeks until I hit that Saturday session, and then I do it all over again. I don't have yellow notes. Mine are pretty green, actually. I still use Kufel and Esser engineering paper. Um, I'm an economist by trade. Technically, I'm a philosopher by undergraduate training and trained in linguistics, ancient language linguistics. Um, Yeah, so that all comes together somehow. As an economist, I do not believe in the economist's credo that the greatest good for the greatest number. I don't have to, honestly. That's just somebody's idea of, I like, surely you're joking, Dr. Feynman, uh, the famous lecturer out of Caltech, theoretical physicist. Uh, my objective in my life has been seemingly minimize the maximum grief for the most vulnerable. That's been mine. And I found that that has, oh, have a lot of hurdles, especially working in corporate world uh, around that. I think we're getting a little better at that. And again, systems thinking helps us with things like triple bottom line, sustainability. Okay. Subsidiarity and solidarity. Okay, we got things like that going on in system thinking. But each of these weeks will be evolving. I think this week's almost done. I'm going to be loading up the videos. There's one already here from Vensim that looks good. We have a model here that we're going to use. And I'm going to bring that model up. Goes right to a directory. Tries to open. Oh, there it goes. It's underneath it. And if I went and actually opened it up in Vensim, there it is. This is what the model's going to look like. Okay. And this is candy at this point for us. Oh my gosh, there's something real here. And making these arrows was what I'm talking about with that Alt key. Okay. I like Courier just because I wish I had my typewriter back and it finally broke down. Um, each one of these has equations in it, like this one here. See if I can bring up an equation. There's the equation. I've got to bring down that little thing there. You see a little fx there. Then eventually it'll all wake up. There it is. So this is almost codeless. Yeah, you have to write the equations out. Okay. Now, there are other ones, a couple of good ones out there, like Alteryx is a good example, or Scratch, an MIT, or so that kindergarten can learn how to program. Programming is putting things together. Okay, it's very engineering sort of thing. But here we are actually have to put things together, but we got enough prompts to get it, and we have lots and lots of functions to use. Delay functions, which are lag functions for the rest of us, are pains when we use that all the logarithms. I want to show you this because we're going to be using some of these random stuff. Yeah, one of my pet projects this time around will be to put a simple Bayes estimation procedure together inside of Vensim. I think it's just okay. So there we go. I can run a simulation right here in front of you just to prove to you it can be done. This is a joint venture, but it's the famous Romeo and Juliet or the Mercurio and Rosalind. Game theory uses this. Okay, this is beyond game theory. I have found this to be a lot superior for my purposes too. Now it's going to build the simulation right now. There it goes. There it goes. Please let it work. Oh gosh. And we have partners A and B, Arturo and Beatrice. All right, we give these people names. And look at this. I can play with this. Um, uh, Capital is swimming between these two partners in the joint. Now, people have actually tried to use this to model loving relationships. Okay, fine. That's called a mindset. That's called a representation. It's a realistically, in a reasonable sort of sense, but not realism. All right. This is not real. This is a way of thinking about a relationship, which is very, very useful to us. And it's highly dynamic. Look at you get bumps like this, it's highly dynamic. There's no doubt about it. I don't need IO properties. Let me get rid of that. And if I go over here to lock, okay. And see, this is one of the frustrations that I always have with this. Oh, I got to shut it down in order to use it. Now it's saving it again. Now it gets rid of all that. I needed to lock it first. Lock the view, so no funny business from any of these icons. Simulate. Send the send. Yeah, the simulation. Oh yeah, I want to overwrite it. Probably going to use the run name, which is where all the data is being held, all of the run data. I can download from that. It's kind of a text file, not too hard to do. Parse it. I can get all of the simulated data and play with it. In fact, I can download it into something like R, and I'll have a short seance about that, how to do that, where I would use DE-solve, for example, to uh, me do more advanced sensitivity analysis than I might be able to do here. But if one of it's contributing 50 and the other's contributing 100, okay, that's the partnership. Uh, and if the one that's contributing 50 earns more per nanosecond than the other, you can see that things shift. Okay, there's a shifting back here and a shifting up and around here. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so that's how we can begin to use this, play with this. And that's what I mean by playing. So let me get out of that. I want to show you one more important thing that we do that we're going to need to do. Um, and that is, I don't want to move the stop share thing on Zoom because it gets a little funny. There's an icon here that does sensitivity. In this case for investment B. Okay, now that's the flow. Levels in the box is stocks. That's a history of all of the flows in and out of that box. Well, that's capital. Capital is stock, and investment is a flow. And that's a key issue. And I thought, okay, yes, now get this cool tornado graph growing inside of this, and let's watch what happens. Okay, this is again the candy part, and then we're going to do some more. I'm going to do some more talking, and of course it shuts down. Oh, I just made it go crazy. Well, we'll authorize your computer. I don't really need to do that at all. And we will be right back at doing this 1 second there. And of course, here we go. Let's get rid of the stuff here. I don't know where these guys came from, but oh, I do now. Okay, so oh, got it. Okay, now I have to bring Vensim up all over again. Let's look at it again. There we go. I'm just going to run this thing up here, which says sensitivity to all. You get used to this. I don't use everything here, just a few things. There's a lot of capability. Run this. Oh, can only be used with levels. Okay, let me see what the partner, capital B, is. Okay, highlight that. And sensitivity of B to everything. Run this. Run. Happened. I think I had an upgrade overnight. There we go. Get a sensitivity in now. Now it runs it. Each of these is the mean absolute deviation of plus and minus 10% runs a factor, and this is a relationship uh, between B and A, going from B to A. Okay, so in a sense, it's a negative relationship. Okay, something's coming out of B into A in this particular case. Here's the return on investment in B. Again, sensitivity. Give it an idea how it works. Okay, and this is one that really works. You see which ones are more sensitive than others. And this is a base case, so we're not going to get any really fun things to look at. But I just wanted you to see how this works and that it does work. We're going to go back to some notion of, there we go. Well, back to here. This is just week 1. Week 2 is just going to be at least as much fun. There's the sharing, and here's the workbook I wanted to show you, just so that you've seen it once. Okay, you're going to need to put your own account in there. If you need to have a Google account, it will tell you that's a Gmail account. I've been trying to figure out how to change that. We'll have to see how that works. And this is may or may not be required. Let me go in general. A lot of issues. There we go. And that will change it. Okay, so anyways, the bottom line of all of this is assignment 1 will be dealing with basically that model and some ideas. 3 usually conclusions, recommendations. Very simple. Keep it real simple. Consult with one another, and then submit your own work. Okay, it could look like everybody else's work. Yeah, that's your problem. My my point is try to do as much of this part on your own. And this is just a kind of a sensitivity analysis, running a couple of different base situations and then looking at a sensitivity analysis like we just said.